Hello, everyone. I'm Becca, dietitian by trade, mom 24/7, wife from the start, and when there's a few extra hours in the day, you might find me hitting the trails or on horseback.
And I'm Kara, a therapist to women, a mom to a boy, an entrepreneur, mountain junkie, and a postpartum runner.
And this is Fit for a Queen, a podcast that's devoted to the female athlete wanting to balance the teeter-totter of all the things we desire out of life as women: performance, health, intellect, and taking time for self, even if we only get 1 minute out of the day.
We're so excited to be bringing you the queens in the athletic world who have done just that. Okay, ladies, take a seat at your thrones, grab your crowns, and welcome to Fit for a Queen.
Hi, Queens. We are back at it today, and we have Seneca Blue from Blueprint, and he's going to share what his mission is to bring mental health to student athletes all over the world. So, Seneca, can you kind of start on your personal journey and what inspired you to start this?
Yeah, so really, I worked as a basketball skill trainer for a lot of my adult life, working with middle school and high school, college, and even some professional athletes. And basically, I used to run exposure showcases, so helping student athletes get exposure to college coaches. And through that process, we started to bring in guest speakers, whether that be a nutritionist or sports psychologist or learning specialist. And basically what I realized is we were providing opportunities for student athletes, but we weren't preparing them for those opportunities when they came. Mm-hmm. During that process, I saw so many student athletes struggling with depression and anxiety and other mental health challenges. I saw, drugs and alcohol derailing dreams, body image and distorted eating issues. I also saw a lack of, leadership and life skills throughout student athletes, and even social media posts costing student athletes scholarships. Mm-hmm. Being a student athlete it's so hard, and I don't think people understand the challenges that they face currently, and they change every day. And they really need a community and a platform that changes with them and provides them, the resources and tools and mentoring and community that they need.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, great. Well, can you kind of tell us about how this formed into Blueprint?
Absolutely. Well, Blueprint essentially, kind of in the short answer, will be the first ever global student athlete development digital platform and community. So what Blueprint is it's a unique blend of digital media, digital learning, resources and tools, mentoring, and at the core of all that, obviously, is community. Our aim is to impact the holistic development and the overall wellness of student athletes nationwide and eventually globally. So we're lucky enough to have a network of about 300 what we call game changers. And those are kind of our digital mentors on our platform and throughout our community. And that could be, professional athletes, Olympians, Paralympians, and student athlete development specialists. So, you're talking about sports psychologists, nutritionists, financial literacy experts, high school and college prep experts, anyone that works with a student athlete from a grassroots level all the way up to even the major sports league.
Mm-hmm. Seneca, I'd like you to share a little bit. I mean, you mentioned some of these, but what do you think some of the challenges? Can you tell us a little bit more about challenges that student athletes are facing today?
Well, I think a lot of it just has to do with the stressors that are involved with, first of all, being a young person. But when you couple that with being a student athlete and having to deal with, I guess you use the term time management, but I guess it's really priority management. But there's a lot of, expectations on kids. And I think they just aren't, they don't have the resources to help them in that process. They feel a lot of pressure, and I don't know if they have healthy outlets or ways to deal with that type of anxiety and things that go along with their journey as a student athlete. They're just, in my opinion, not prepared for the transitions that they'll face in life, and just kind of overall in terms of their development and their wellness.
Yeah.
So this platform, will they go on to educate themselves, or would it be schools provide it? How do you kind of envision that?
Yeah, it's a combination of both. Blueprint at the core is a platform and a community for student athletes by student athletes. But partnerships are so valuable in this process. So, we're working with a number of organizations and school districts and athletic directors and other orgs that can help us in terms of our reach and in getting to those student athletes. So it'll be a combination of reaching student athletes where they are in terms of social networks and in other areas, speaking their language, kind of figuring out the stories that they want to tell and need to hear, the resources that they need, the issues that they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and basically having, our 10 toes on the ground, basically where student athletes are at and being an ally in their journey.
Mm-hmm. I think this is such a timely discussion. I mean, so much stuff is coming up in the college athletics world. And, unfortunately, like you said, these young athletes are thrown into a very adult world sometimes of kind of politics and money. And then they've got school and athletics on top of that. So the more resources, the better.
Right.
Absolutely. And our biggest opportunity in our core demographic is, basically seventh grade to 23, age 23. But our biggest impact will be at the middle school and high school level. Basically when student athletes get to college, if they don't have those core skills, those life skills, a healthy background in coping mechanisms and things like that,
You're right.
essentially you're repairing kids instead of preparing them. And obviously that's where we think our biggest opportunity is to help them in that transition to high school and into college. And we're not just serving the elite student athlete. The student athlete we serve could be the kid that plays rec ball down the street, that's playing soccer. They're a student athlete, or
absolutely.
an esports athlete or an adaptive sports athlete. So a student athlete, we want to kind of change the narrative of what that means, because I think there's kind of an elite idea of what a student athlete is, that they have everything handed to them and their lives are perfect and everything's rosy, but that's not the case.
You're very right. I appreciate you mentioning that. And starting out earlier is more prevention work than repairing work. I like that a lot.
Absolutely.
And I like the whole, it's not so much time management, priority management, when you kind of like, hey, how much Fortnite are we doing at the end of the night? Maybe we should be sleeping and doing some other things.
There's two things that we really, I think, have a huge opportunity to help with. It's helping shape their identity outside of the sport that they play. I think so many student athletes, their whole identity comes from, and their whole value comes from the sport that they play and the success in that sport. And when that stops or when things don't go well, it affects every other area of their life. And there's so many student athletes that just don't have that awareness, and people haven't shown them other paths and other opportunities and other talents that they have outside telling them how great they are maybe at the sport that they play. And the other thing is, like you said, just defining your values and what you stand for and what's important to you throughout your day. And that's going to kind of help you with that time management and kind of the stress of life and being a student athlete.
Yeah,
exactly.
All good stuff. You mentioned game changers. So share with the listeners some of the game changers you have on board.
Oh, geez. We have about 300 game changers on board right now, and it's simply growing by the minute. We are lucky enough to have, whether it's athletes or specialists that just truly believe in the need for Blueprint, that we can really change the narrative, the culture amongst student athletes. So, we have everything from swimmers to professional lacrosse players to like I said, financial literacy experts. So our hope is that, basically every student athlete, no matter whether they need one thing that Blueprint has or another, we have something for everybody, and we can help them in that journey. So the other thing is, it doesn't have to be, I would say, aligned mentoring. So I think, if you're a young lacrosse player, you can learn just as much from a professional basketball player in their journey and shared experience as you can from another lacrosse player. Sure. And it's about finding that commonality, and our goal is, whether you're a kid on, the south side of Chicago, or you're in Madison, Wisconsin, or you're in the Hamptons, there's experiences that you share and there's struggles that you share that our community can bring together and help you through those things.
Exactly. Because it is hard in athletics to have that, like, mentor-mentee role because it's so competitive, and then those age gaps that occur that I really like. It's like having these student athletes that are becoming big brother's little brother mentor role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the most important thing is peer-to-peer mentoring. And as you guys know, just through your work, I mean, there's nothing like seeing one of your peers, being vulnerable in their story and helping you in their journey, or sharing their experiences or things like that. So that's what we want to do, is provide a safe community for people to share their triumphs, their struggles, their experiences, and help each other through those things. And whether it's peer-to-peer or it's one of our game changers to a younger student athlete, we think that multi-level peer will really help in terms of guiding them on their journeys.
So if a younger athlete sees something posted on social media and they're like, oh, I'd really like to connect with that athlete, can they connect directly with them?
So most of our mentoring, it will be done indirectly, basically through content, through Q&As, through a Facebook Live or an Instagram, or there won't be direct mentoring going on unless we're doing live events.
Got it. Okay.
So kind of the experience, the mentoring experience is basically done in the digital space, through content, through digital learning, like I said, resources and tools, and then, just creative engagement ways through social media and through our app.
Yeah, I love following you on Instagram. You always have really great quotes and stuff. So,
well, no, thank you. I mean, and a lot of that is just, you talked about, self-management and taking care of yourself. A lot of that is for me. Other people think I post a lot of that stuff, and I do it to inspire others. But we all, every day is difficult, and we have some days that are better than others. And when you're chasing your dream and you're building a startup, it's hard to keep things in perspective at times. So those things help.
Yeah.
So most important question. This is like the opening week of basketball season. Did you get to watch any of your teams this week?
I love this time of year. No, it's great. I coach myself. I coach my son's team, and my daughter plays basketball as well. But it's always great to see, former student athletes that I've worked with and trained, playing at the college level or professional level, or the young kids that are just starting out. So it's really rewarding to see them, fulfilling their dreams and kind of, chasing their goals.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Well, we love to end every interview with our interviewees letting us know how they live out the FIT philosophy. And you mentioned that this is important to you. So how do you yourself balance performance, health, intellect, and taking time for yourself?
Yeah, it's like I just touched on. When you're chasing your dream, which I've been doing for 10 to 12 years here, and you're building a startup, it's easy to forget that balance and get caught up in, kind of what society glorifies, the grind, hustle mindset. And, I really just feel in order to be your best self, you need to find time to recharge and refocus and refresh. And that helps you be a better leader, a better father, better husband, better son. And things I like to do, whether it's meditation or it's running or it's playing basketball, which I still love to do, or reading. I really think in order to be a great leader, you have to just have a kind of leaders are learners mindset, and that you're always a student. So, just finding that time for yourself, prioritizing it. Like we said, what do you value? One of the things that you have to value is your own health and your own wellness. And you can't be a great leader or the best version of yourself if you're not making that a priority in your daily schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
We definitely agree.
So thanks so much for coming on. We're going to put all your links in your show notes so that they can follow you. And then obviously in our practice, we'll be encouraging our student athletes to follow and find a mentor for them.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and support and allowing me to kind of just share my journey in the mission of Blueprint. It means the world to me. So thank you very much.
Oh, you bet. Have a great day.
You guys as well. Thank you.
Bye, Queens.
Bye-bye.
Thank you to our sponsor today, Sentimano Counseling. Sentimano Counseling is the premier perinatal mental health practice in Kansas City, treating mood disorders during pregnancy and postpartum, perinatal loss, infertility, eating, and exercise disorders. Go to sentimano.com for further information about the practice and services. For additional information on today's topic and guests, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fit for a Queen. And
Hashtag Fit for a Queen.
don't forget to rate us on iTunes. We can't wait for you to join us next time on Fit for a Queen.
Bye, Queens.